Hi guys and girls, and welcome to another episode of Kook Shed, my own little YouTube channel where I share ideas and tips and reviews relating to bodyboarding and surfing generally. Today we're going to talk about a board that's quite close to my heart, the mighty Morey Mach F-1. So this is now considered a vintage bodyboard. Came out sort of mid-90s, and when I was a grom I wanted one really badly. I'd always ridden like Moreys generally, and I was on the Mike Stewart Mach 7.7s, Mach 7X, those sort of designs, and they were in the 43s, 43-inch lengths, all the boards I was buying and riding. And there was a trend around then where boards started getting a little bit shorter, and I wanted to try going just a little bit shorter, which this one is. It's not quite 43, it's around the 42-inch mark, and that ticked the box for me. And also it had this new core that they were, going on about, hyping up, the Fybercel core. So I think it's Morey's attempt at keeping up with the other bodyboards that were starting to, or were already incorporating Polypro cores. So now Polypro is considered sort of the go-to core for bodyboards in regards to performance and durability. But back in the day, Morey were using Dow polyethylene core a lot, and then reinforcing them with one or even two layers of mesh, plastic mesh, X-Flex mesh. So they came up with the Fybercel core. Now I think this was around the time when Morey was acquired by Mattel. So they had a bit of money, and they wanted to maybe try something new to compete with the Polypro, the lighter cores that were coming out. So they came up with this Fybercel. Now I don't think it's actually designed to be a bodyboard core. They found some material from a plastics maker and tried it out, and they've incorporated it into some of their top of the line boards. There was a lot of hype around the Fybercel, and I, as a grom, I went right in, dived right in, and I wanted to try the Fybercel. Now, there was a couple other models that had the Fybercel core. The Mach 25, which I'm also going to throw up a review of, but it had a different deck. It had this sort of EVA deck. It's sort of like Softline, like Manta had the Softline. It's more of a Polypro condensed a deck skin, and like a closed cell, and I was just used to riding the PE decks, so that's why I sort of went towards this board as well. It has the PE deck with the Fybercel core, and it also has the X-Flex mesh on the bottom. Now, excuse the big crease there, I'll get to that in a minute. So I don't think the Mach 25 had X-Flex in it at all, and I like the X-Flex mesh. It's just a layer of plastic mesh between the slick and the core on this model. Sometimes they put it between the deck and the core, but I felt it was better used down on the slick for performance reasons. And yeah, I just wanted to keep the X-Flex for a bit more durability, and I'm glad I did, because a lot of the Mach 25s would sort of fold relatively easy. I've heard it even got the nickname, Fiber Fold, amongst the pros that were riding the Fybercel boards, because they would fold quite easily under extreme conditions. So another thing you might notice about the board is the straight tail. Not many of the high performance board had the straight tail, but I thought, because going down in size, I thought maybe having that straight tail will keep the volume up there, so I can ride a shorter board but still have the momentum and drive of a little bit more foam still there. And I found it's actually really good for tight little manoeuvres in the pocket. It's great for like little spins in the pocket, that sort of thing. And also, when I was younger and I was trying, you know, ARSs and backflips a lot more regularly, I found that it was less likely to catch, like the tail pegs were less likely to catch. I just found it easier to just sort of spin around if I landed backwards, or if I found myself backwards on the wave. That straight tail definitely helps from eliminate catching of the tail pegs and that sort of thing. But it definitely adds drive and speed to the board because you've just got that little bit more surface area. Another thing, there wasn't many boards that Morey made that had channels at the time. They had the Mike Stewart channels, Mike Stewart channel boards, but I wanted to sort of just try something different as well. But they were only made as specifically a channel board, like it would be the Mike Stewart channel 742 or that sort of thing. Whereas this just was a model that just had channels incorporated. I think they've incorporated it to help counteract the square tail as well, so that it was less likely to slide out in critical situations. Because you don't have that scoop of the swallowtail, it might have been more susceptible to sliding out in situations where you didn't want it to. It might not track so well in steep faces, that sort of thing. So I think they've thrown the channels in to help alleviate or counteract that problem. And yeah, they work great. Nice graduated channels, not too deep, not too long, and I found it works great. It is a more you'll have to excuse this leash plug, by the way. This board came from Japan. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but I haven't been riding this one, so I haven't bothered changing the leash plug yet. It definitely is a bit more of a prone shape, I'd say. It's definitely leaning towards a prone rider. You've got a lot of width up here, around the elbow. It is quite straight for the time period, like straight rails and everything, but generally I think it's aimed at prone riders. But yes, I have drop kneed on it many times. It will drop knee fine. It's probably not as good a drop knee board as other ones that are out there that are designed to be ridden prone and drop knee, or just drop knee. But I found it still did the job okay. One thing, if you're drop kneeing on this board regularly, it's probably going to give way, because you're just putting it under that much pressure with, you know, the foot up the front and the knee down the back. Like I said, these cores are very light, but they're not the strongest, so you probably might find that drop knee will take its toll on the board even more than prone. So you've got this bright red deck and this gold leaf print, which, you know, it's saying this board is designed to be fast. We're marketing this as a fast board, the Mach F-1 Formula 1. And yeah, I fell for it, you know. Not as in I was tricked, but, you know, it resonated with me. I was like, yeah, that looks like a nice, fast and light board. And it is for what, you know, especially for the time period, it was a light, fast, agile little board. Nowadays, they're generally making them a little bit narrower than this, but yeah, it's still quite a fast, maneuverable board. Nose has got, you know, still quite a wide nose. That's what makes me think it's leaning a bit more towards prone as well. You've got 60/40 rails, which generally the Moreys were doing at the time. So you've got 60% rail and 40% chine, the bit that connects the deck to the top of the rail. I don't know if you can see that there, but yeah, you've got 60/40 rails, which was what they were doing at the time. Double rails. I like the pinstripe too, so they've got black rails and a little white pin line there on the inside rail is white. So it just was a nice looking board when I saw it in the magazines, and thought, yeah, I want to try that. I didn't see many people riding them many of the pros on their team riding them. I think I only saw Tyson Williams riding one at the time. Like with the Mach 25, a lot, like Ben Player, Kingy, Ryan Hardy, they were riding the Mach 25s a lot. But I didn't see many Mach F1s being ridden by the team. Now I don't know whether that's telling of their performance or what, but I still like them. There was a guy, an older guy than me, and I remember seeing him in the surf with one. So people were riding them, but I didn't see them around that much. They were very pricey because of they were new and designed to be sort of top tier, and the Fybercel. I don't know, maybe there was more issues with construction, getting the materials to bond, I don't know, but they were quite pricey, so that might have put a few people off, especially with the straight tail. They might not have been willing to try a new design if they're spending that much money. But yeah, so what happened was I had a high school snow trip coming up, and I'd been saving my money for that excursion, and at the last minute I used the money I was saving to go and buy this board instead. So I got Mum to drive me, you know, it's like two hours to the surf shop that had one up the coast, and I brought it home, unwrapped it, got it all ready, and everyone went on the ski trip, on the snow trip, and so I had the week off school. And during that time my local spot just turned on. It was winter, and we just got a beautiful swell that just kept rolling in all week, and it was really, really good conditions. I've still got memories of waves on my Mach F-1 that's just burned in my memory. I'll never forget. It was just beautiful green glassy barrels with one other guy out, especially during the week, midweek. There was just no one there. All my friends were at the snow, and I just scored the local spot firing for a week straight on my brand new Morey Mach F-1. So really good memories for me on this board. So this one here I don't really ride yet. I've got another one, because they're hard to find. If I see one I pick it up because I like them so much. So this is the one I've been riding. It's faded in colour. It's got some marks and things on it, but this is the one I'll take out and ride until it falls apart, and then I might ride the other one. But I've actually got this one signed by Mike Stewart himself when he was visiting the country. I went to see him and took a few boards for him to sign, and I was lucky enough to get him to sign the Mighty F1 for me, which is ironic because at the time he was leaving Morey, or just left, because there was when Mattel took over Morey, there was contract issues, and Mike left to start Science by himself, the Science company. So I don't think he actually was familiar with this board yet. I don't think he'd actually seen it. Actually, when I brought this board to him to sign, he was really interested in the tail, and he even said to his mate, he said, you know, check this out, check this board out. So I don't think he'd seen many of them around, or I don't think he was on the team once this was released, or yeah, I don't think he was aware of it, or he was focused on other things obviously at the time. But yeah, he had a good look at the tail, and he said to his mate, you know, check this tail out. Wow, this is a wild Morey. So hopefully that's sort of given you an idea about these boards, and maybe giving you a bit of a trip down memory lane. Like I said, they're not the strongest boards, so I don't ride them all the time. I won't ride this all the time. I've got other boards that I'll ride, but then if the conditions are right, I'll definitely give this one a spin. Like I said, it seems to go well in short pockety waves, like as in real bowly pockety sort of waves. So when there's a local spot that's doing that, I'll chuck this in the car and hopefully give it another run in the salt. I try to ride my vintage boards if I can. I don't want them sort of just sitting there gathering dust for too long, because they were built to be ridden. So yeah, these are both hopefully going to get some time in the salt with me. But yeah, I just I like the template. It's fast, it's manoeuvrable. I like the materials, nice and light. Like I said, not that durable, but you know, I've got two, and I'm happy to ride them. You know, boards are going to give out sooner or later. You can see there's a crease here, like a diagonal sort of crease. That could be from drop kneeing. Drop kneeing, you sort of get the board twisting. But yeah, I really love the old Mach F-1, very special to me. Which brings me to, they've actually released another one. They've released, this year they released the remake of the Morey Mach F-1. Now it doesn't have, you know, obviously it's built a little bit different. They've made some changes and tweaks to it. But I've just ordered one. It should be turning up any day now, so keep an eye out for that, because I'm going to give it a ride. I'm going to compare the new Morey Mach F-1 with the original one from the 90s. So that should be a bit of fun as well. So if you've got any questions about the board, or if you've got one yourself, or if you've ridden one, or if you wanted to ride one, let us know in the comments. I enjoy taking this sort of trip down memory lane with these old Moreys. And if this was helpful to you or entertaining, hit like. And if you want to see more videos about bodyboarding, surfing, tips, ideas, anything that I like to share that I think might help you out in the surf, have more fun in the water, or if you just want to see more vintage bodyboard videos taking you down memory lane, just hit subscribe. And hopefully I'll see you here next time on Kook Shed. Thanks for dropping in. Catch ya.